Hello and welcome to the second screencast for EDU 807. In this screencast, we are going to be talking about soccer tip, or as I like to tell my students, so creative, because everything that we do is so creative. So Creative is an app or a website that you can use to engage your students in a gamification type formative and summative assessment. So Creative is a free application that you can use. You can go ahead and upgrade to the Pro. I'm not too sure about the Pro. I have not looked into it. It's brand new. But once you go ahead and create an account, it's free. There's logins for students, which we'll talk about when we get to our unique feature of the week. And then there's the teacher login. So let's go into the teacher login, shall we? When we arrive to the main dashboard, we'll see some icons that, yes, you can click on, and also different types of questions that you can click on. Here we can make quizzes. This is our room, which is very important for our unique feature of the week. And also I can get reports about my students' tests. You can do a quick quiz question just by clicking on here and designing the question as well. And I'll show you how to design the question in just a second. Our unique feature of the week is Space Race, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit. So let's talk about designing some questions. So when you go to quizzes, you can go to Add Quiz. If you have a curriculum where a quiz is already on a different website or maybe docs or form, you can import it. Or if you're like me that likes to create brand new quizzes from scratch, you can just go ahead and create new. Here you can start off with naming your quiz. And then you can go ahead and click this box, which I really like, very helpful. You can pick the subject. So I always do mine for social studies. We do the Common Core. And we can do history, social studies, and 6th or 8th grade, and then we pick the standard. You don't have to do this. I normally never do, but some teachers that teach multiple classes like that little unique feature. When we come down here to the bottom, you can see that there are 3 types of questions that you can pick for your space race, or if you're doing just a quick quiz or any type of question in So Creative, these are the question types that you are given. For creating a multiple choice, you go ahead and click on that, type in your question, pretend that's a question, fill in your answers, and maybe when you're filling in your answers, you might realize that, hey, I need that extra question and extra answer I want to give my students. You simply do that by hitting Add Answer and then yet again typing that in. When you're done selecting all your answers, you can pick the correct answer. One unique feature that I do like is that you can add an image from either your desktop or from the internet. And I like this because it's good for differentiating instruction for students that maybe need that extra support with reading or maybe just need a visual to help them understand. You can also use this to show a lesson that you were doing in the classroom. Maybe you were asking, how many pennies did that bridge hold of Jim and Joe's? So you can do that as well. When you're done, you can hit save. And that way it saves because like right now at my house it's storming, so I'd be very upset if I was doing a 50 question quiz and then all of a sudden the power went out. So yet again for true and false, same exact thing. I one time just did all pictures. I was doing Shark Tank because we were learning about entrepreneurs, and I just asked, is this Mark Cuban, true or false? And then you pick the answer. And then you can always give an explanation. You can give that too for multiple choice as well. This way the parents and the students know why they're getting the answer right or wrong. Yet again, save that when you're done. And then we go to the short answer, which yet again, you type that in. I normally make my short answers where I have to check them because it's just easier. You can add it where you can say anytime they say cat, they're given a point, but you don't have to. I've done that where I don't do that. Maybe the day of the quiz you realize, oh, you know what, I don't want 3 questions. That's just too much for my students. You can delete the question by clicking the garbage can. Or if you want to edit, you just hit the pencil and you edit for maybe spelling or whatever you want. To rearrange the questions, you can go ahead and click these buttons to scroll up and down the screen on the side. And change the format, I should say. And then you can copy and paste them as well if you're putting it into some kind of other format or website. When you're done, you hit save and exit, and then it adds it to your workshop of quizzes that you have. When we turn back to our dashboard here, It can be now used as a space race or an exit ticket. We are just going to focus on the space race because that's our unique feature that I like for this summative assessment. So the theme that I've been doing for all my screencasts is gamification. And we talk about gamifying what we do, but we also have to assess our students as well. So using space race is going to make our students want to play games and take quizzes. And they're going to beg for you to do this because it's so much fun, trust me. So when you click on the space race, here are our quizzes that we made today. Remember our 2 quizzes that we didn't want to be too mean about. So you pick your quiz. You would go ahead and pick our settings. So maybe I want 3 teams. You can go all the way up to 20, which is pretty cool, especially for me that has a class of 27 students. I could pick the icon, so today I'm going with the B. You could do a countdown, but you have to have the Pro feature. I require my students to type in their names. It's a lot easier for when I do grading. I don't have them shuffle the questions. I don't really mind, or shuffle the answers. It's fine with me that those are off. I do have it show question feedback, although I know the students probably are not watching it because they're trying to hurry up and win the race. And then I also like for them to see their final score as well, what they're getting right or wrong. So this is what a space race looks like. And yes, I put this up on my big screen, and I do project it from the data projector. And what happens is when the students answer a question, their little B moves. He only moves if they get it right. So if they get their questions done in 10 seconds and they get nothing right, he's only going right here. If it takes them 5 hours and they get all the questions right, they're here. If it takes them 5 minutes and they get all their questions right, they'll still end up at the finish line. So it's not about how fast, it's about how many you get right. As you can always tell there's a race going on because this little, I call it like a little satellite goes off to let you know. This is the code that the students have to type in. So remember when we first came to the website and I said there's a student login? Well, yeah, this is the student login. So I'm going to type in that code and I'm not going to bore you with it. So I'm going to pause and I'll come back and talk to you after I type in that code. Alright, so I just typed in that code and I make my students put in their names because it's just easier for when they grade, for when I have to grade it and put it in the grade book. Because after they're done I do get the results. So I can hit that. When your students log in, I always make my students wait unless you have the Pro feature. It'll count them down. When they get this bar, it represents what team they are. So I'm team blue, so I'm this one. If you want it to be a true race, you want to make sure all students are on and say, you know, Brittany is blue, Ben is green. So that way when they're watching, they know who they're watching and they find it to be very interesting and they try to compete, you know, because they're watching it on the screen. So they think it's very interesting. So pretend that everybody signed on. There's different students as well, and everybody counted down and said go. So I click and answer my questions, and then, you know, it tells me why I got it right. And when I get it right, you may notice my B moved. And then when I go here, and I click on another one, and I hit submit, and I get it incorrect, my little B didn't move. So, and it tells me at the end, you know, when I got finished results. And then it says, you know, yay, I completed the activity, you know, waiting for the next one to begin. And this way I can add more students to the race as well. You can do short answers also as a quiz. Let me finish it. So this is where you get your reports. You can get it, you get your reports and it tells you, you know, I can email them, download them, whatever I want to do. So that's one unique feature I like as well too. You can do multiple choice true and false and short answers on the space race. It's just that the short answer I rather have checked myself, but they still get credit if they answer their short answer quiz. So that's the unique stuff about So Creative. It's very cool because obviously your kids are going to want to do assignments. They love to compete against each other. I mean, we know gamification competition's really big. I'm going to pull up the standards. I thought I had them up. And, oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry, over here. And how this relates to ISTE is number 2, where we design and develop digital age learning experience and assessments. So it pretty much fits in all of these. I was looking at D being one of the main ones, provide students with multiple and varied formative and supplement assessments aligned with content and technology standards and use resulting data to inform students. Well, as you may notice, when they were done, there was a little key that said, you know, you got this wrong and why did you get it wrong? Remember, I typed in those explanations. And also, you know, you can do formative or summative. As we know here, you can just do your quick little questions here, or you can make them longer. So that's meeting that standards as well. We talk about even this one where it says that they can collaborate with friends. Sometimes when I'll make them do the same test together and they'll talk about why they're putting their answer they are and their short answer, they'll type it in. So that's something that I like to do with my students as well. And as I said, you know, this is where they're participating in their own educational goals. You know, they want to win. They want to be the person that does well. Maybe they want their B to only go halfway instead of, you know, not even leaving the gate, I guess you can call it. So I agree that it reaches very nice with this. I think Triple E theory is definitely, framework is definitely in there because my students are so engaged and this extends beyond the curriculum and it also enhances their learning because they want their teddy bear or bee to move. So my students love this. So Crave is a great summative or formative assessment. Um, it has many unique features such as space race. I don't know many others that have space race. It reminds me of the old carnival games where you shoot the water into the little clown's mouth and little horsey moves. So that's what it reminds me of. But overall, So Creative is awesome because it is so creative. I hope you enjoyed my screencast and I hope that it found you some helpful information for you and your students. And until next time, take care.